Hey guys, welcome back to Sip and Scream, the spookiest cocktail hour on YouTube, brought to you by Burton Burton, not Tim.
But shout out to Tim. We love you.
Love you.
That's right, where we dive into the deep, dark corners of horror while sipping on some drinks. Tonight's movie is A Quiet Place, Day 1. And the drink inspired by the movie is
The day one.
the Day 1, like my girl. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm trying to clink, but
Clink.
that was smart. Oh, that's like sophisticated.
Classy.
Okay.
Classy and refreshing.
Refreshing. All right, Whit, set us up.
Okay, so check it out. This is the third installment of The Quiet Place, but it's a prequel. It's day one, and so we're getting to see the beginnings of how this universe kind of came to be. It follows a character that we haven't seen in the other movies and her initial journey and just her point of view of what's happening as these creatures descend upon the planet. And from New York, of all places, we've only been into like rural areas of this universe in the aftermath mostly. So very interesting to see just how this all comes to be from our girl Lupita's perspective. Yeah, I think that's a good nutshell
Yeah.
description.
Aliens wreaking havoc.
Aliens wreaking havoc. All right. So, your initial thoughts on day one?
Ooh.
We did see this together in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Just FYI.
Yeah.
So it was an experience, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
Initial thoughts in general.
Initial thoughts. One was hype to see Lupita. She is an action actress star. And I was like, let's go. Let's go. I want to see her with some aliens. So I thought that was cool. I was surprised that the intro was so subtle. The intro was more, you've already had 2 movies of us. You know what's coming. Let's get to a character building moment. And I was like, oh, okay. I did not know it was coming, but I liked it. I'm like, it's Lupita. I'm here for it. What are we doing? So that pulled me in immediately. I was like, oh, it's subdued. Oh, my girl is sick. I was like, okay. So now we're just really seeing her personality that is relatable in this day and age. And it immediately just pulled me in. I'm like quietly sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Because there's a lot of noise going on. It's a normal world. Shit starts to happen pretty early on. But I like that it wasn't like a cold open with like a lot of violence. What are these? It's like, we know what the aliens are. We've seen it. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts were, ooh, I'm really here for this. And shit is going down immediately, pretty much. The cat was introduced early on. Thought the cat was cute. I was like, yes, I want New York pizza. All relatable. I feel like I was pulled in by the relatability. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so similarly, just the intro, the words on screen.
Yeah.
That immediately pulled me in because like I love like just some like a gem that's dropped at the beginning to make you think. And like it said something about 90 decimals is the level of noise that's constantly coming from New York City. And I don't even know how to gauge a decimal, but like even that like just statement was just like, okay,
right,
makes sense. It's the city that never sleeps, they say.
Right.
So to have that dropped at the beginning, like, oh wow, yes. And the fact that we already know the premise of noise equals bad, noise equals disaster, and we're going into one of the noisiest places of all places on Earth.
Right.
That was absolutely captivating at first. And then also, yes, just the setup of her character and kind of seeing where she's coming from. She's like in a hospice facility, and so you're already getting these little markers of her character, of her history, of her status in the world. And also too, at first, like when the alarms were going off in the nursing home, I thought this shit was going down then.
Oh,
I was like,
you were like,
I was on alert. I was on alert. I was like, oh, there's alarms. Everybody's like too calm. Like something's going down, but it's a nursing home. So somebody probably was just coding in the nursing home. But it was a good kind of just like teaser or like it kind of made me like, oh my gosh, it's happening. But it wasn't.
Stress immediately.
Right. Because then it calms down again. They're like, yeah, like I liked your poop story, your poem, and we're going to go to the city. And she's like, all right, I guess I'll go to the city with you guys. So yeah, I was immediately pulled in. Initial thoughts, yes, just like love Lupita in horror, love Lupita in general, but her in this universe that I already like have an affinity for of Quiet Place 1, Quiet Place 2, and just seeing her lead this installment was initial thoughts was let's go.
Snaps for Lupita, snaps for A Quiet Place. Yeet, yeet.
Right. And so they're going into the city. She's like telling dude, you tricked me, like I thought we were going to a show, but they're going to like a puppet show.
Yeah.
And that's where we see Jaimin, his character Henry, who I recognized immediately from the second movie when they end up on the island.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to see him and kind of call back to the other movies. And so he's there in the theater with his family, sitting in front of Lupita, which her character's name is Sam. And, you know, she's got her little cat, and the cat's getting friendly with Jaimin's or Henry's son.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that it was just nice to see him. You know, she leaves the theater and is walking around by herself, going to the convenience store, having her little moments, and then is told they can't get pizza and is pissed off.
Right.
And taking it out on, what is his name? His name is Alex Wolff.
Yeah, I'm like Alex Wolff.
From Hereditary. Love him.
Wait, was his name Ruben?
His name is Ruben.
Yes.
Yes, so Nurse Ruben, she's giving him sass. And storms off, and then that's when stuff starts to go down.
Oh.
And, yeah, they're getting on the bus, and that's when that first kind of thing happens. There's people, all of her like fellow hospice neighbors,
they're on that
on the bus. I loved the build up. There was lots of just like calm and lead up to that moment. So that was nice.
It made sense. It made sense. We needed that.
Yeah, we didn't need it to like automatically be in the thick of it. It was nice to kind of build up to it, to get to know her character a little bit and her circumstances, and like just it was a regular day for everybody in New York City.
Right. That's when it started to get scary to me, because it's like, oh shit, that's right, this all began from just regular day. You know, there were so many context clues leading up to it, right? Like when they first drove into New York, you see these fighter planes. They're just like flying through the city, but you're like, whatever, it's the hustle bustle. But it's like, no, fighter jets don't usually just fly low through New York. They knew something was up. Yeah. And that's just like great writing, great directing. And then you really get into it where now it's going down, and I'm terrified. Like, she's running through the smoke when she gets out the bus, and I felt like
immediately
I was in it. Right. Cat's gone. Look.
Initially, that's the first thing.
Frodo said, I have survival skills, and I'm gonna use them.
You're on your own.
You're on your own, and if we meet again. We need a whole section about Frodo 1, but let's get further into it before. But
yeah, and so that's the interesting thing too, is like she's like, you know, outside of the bus, there's ash everywhere. Yeah. People don't know what.
Yeah, they don't know yet
what's going on. Yeah. One, two.
This guy tries to save her and he kills her. Like, he gets himself killed because he's like, run, and then he gets killed.
Yeah, they don't know that sound is the problem yet. And so, luckily, she's not making noise, you know?
Right, because she's stunned, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was horrible. Like, when she's trying to feel through the fog, more fog, man.
Yeah. And next thing you know, just gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
So did you have any jump scares at this point?
I did. So you were there in the theater. I was so tense. everything, right after the monsters invaded, I was like, okay, we survived that. Nobody fucked this up. I felt like there were way too many people in there. I just felt like the risk of things going bad were high. And I felt like it showed, right? When the guy had the panic attack and he's like trying to say, we're all gonna die. Like, he needed for those to be his last words for some reason, but that's like the risk you run when you're around a lot of people in a high stakes situation like this. So I thought it was crazy, right, that Henry, the guy who just saved Sam, now is put in this predicament to have to hurt someone. Like, his son is staring at him, and it's like, it's you or me. You gotta shut up. And it's like moments like that make even good people have to make a decision like that, like,
it's for the greater good.
For the greater good, to take somebody's life. And so I thought that was absolutely terrifying, but real and grounding to a movie like this, you know. And you could see that it was painful for him. And we do survive that, and then we are now in a safe zone, right? She's making a joke, she's writing on the paper,
right?
You know, and I wanted to be
so sad he got taken out so early.
Taken out. And but you know what? It made sense. Like, and it gave her a reason to have to move on from that place, right? And fend for herself. But that was the core, because I knew it was coming. Her eyes, you could tell she saw it behind him, and he felt it.
And again, he did it for the greater good. He could have just hid, and and the thing would have come and taken out the generator and just taken out so many more people. But he prevented more deaths by kind of sacrificing himself. Yeah.
So what was your jump scare moment? Or
I had so many, and like I usually can see them all coming, or not all, but like I'm usually good at predicting when they're gonna happen, so I hold my breath in preparation. But there were so many moments where I just like
she does hold her breath, y'all. I can vouch for that.
Throughout the whole movie, I'd be jumping. But I will say, like, to the theater experience, and just
I'm scared.
You know, I got our tickets so early. When I got our tickets, the theater was empty. It's a Wednesday afternoon. So I'm like, oh, the theater's not going to be that crazy. It's Wednesday, it's afternoon. The movie came out a week prior, whatever. It was packed. It was packed.
Oh, that sucks. Yes.
And then there was this, bless them, but there was this couple right to the left of us. And they were super distracting throughout the whole thing. They were talking. They were on their phones a lot. They, you know, they had like
anything.
I think they brought in like Lay's chips bags of
like their
snacks,
own loud snacks.
But like they refused to eat it while like loud things were happening. They waited until it was quiet, and then were just ruffling their bags so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you brought your own snacks. I do that too, but like. I wait until it's loud, and then I'll be munching. Right. But like, you want to do it through the quiet. This is called A Quiet Place.
Literally the quietest movie.
And it was a little triggering because I remember seeing the first one in the theater, and the same kind of thing happened. I remember this older woman that was sitting a few rows ahead. She was openly talking, and it's like the first movie when they're like in the grocery store and everything is silent.
Yeah.
And this man had to tell the woman, like, ma'am, this is called The Quiet Place. Like,
he literally told her?
Yeah, he said it. And she was so offended. Because he was sitting directly behind her. And so I guess at one point, like, he accidentally like, kicked her seat from behind, and then like she had a problem with that. Like, there was almost about to be a brawl in this movie
not everyone's
theater.
as nice as us.
Yeah. And so, hello, Bailey. Welcome. But yes, so these people were really bothering me. I think they like kind of took me out of some moments. And this is just a PSA. Like, if you're going to see a movie in the theater, especially a scary movie, shut the fuck up and sit still. Sit still.
That's right. Let it out, Whitney.
Be quiet. Sit still. And like movie theaters aren't cheap unless you're going on $7 Tuesdays. Like, it's not a cheap thing. So like, get your money's worth. Yeah. Get off your fucking phone and focus. Focus.
Say it one more time.
Focus. Fucking focus, okay? Ugh. Drives me crazy. Anyways, bless them. Bless that couple. Because, you remember at the end of the movie, her phone starts ringing and she's like acting like
Y'all,
it wasn't her fault.
her phone was ringing.
Like,
ringing. She
ringing.
goes, her phone's the one ringing. And she's like, and she's digging through. I'm like, lady, if you don't shut the fuck up.
At one point, I had put my bag like as a barrier to block them and like make it very like known without like saying like, can you shut the fuck up?
Her bag was on the arm. It was like a wall.
Like, I'm blocking you. I don't want to see your phone screen shine. I don't want to hear your conversation. I want you to know that I'm annoyed by your fucking presence.
Yeah. At some point, she got up too.
She left the theater, and I was like, yeah, don't come back,
Yeah.
But she did.
She did come back.
And that's when her phone rang. And she acted annoyed as if.
I felt bad for Whitney because you were right. Like, at least I had a
of all the people in the theater, and I gotta sit next to Tweedledee and Tweedle don't give a fuck.
I am so sorry. Because honestly, they were far enough to annoy me, but not enough to ruin the movie for me.
I got taken out of it so many times. But anyways.
That's a PSA though. Y'all. If you want to chat about it, chat after. Go with a friend, get a drink.
How hard is it to just like shut the fuck up for an hour and a half?
YouTube about it and just gab about it as much as you want, like we do.
Just be quiet. How hard is it?
Like you said, you're paying money anyway.
Anyways, so at this point in the movie, we've lost dear Ruben, and so she's in like F it mode and ready to move on.
Yeah,
she gets some food for her cat, and she's by this fountain, being very like meticulous and opening the can, because we all know at this point like noise draws the creatures. She doesn't realize that the water is like kind of masking it. And that's when she sees these two kids, and she has like an instant just desire to care, and so she's handing them food. And then that's when the helicopters made the announcement that everybody needs to make their way towards the water because there's safety, there's boats to get them off. They've announced, I think, even at that moment, like, these creatures we've learned cannot swim. Yeah. They don't like water. So everybody make their way that way.
The wheelchair, the feet. And I'm just like,
yes.
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was like really like unnerving, because it's only a matter of time before something goes down to draw the creatures.
Yeah.
Before me, like, I'm like, let's go to the water, but let's go on a parallel street that's less crowded with more with less people, because this is a death trap that we're in. Like, as much as we're all in this together, it's like somebody's gonna mess up.
It's too many people. Yeah.
So inevitably, that's what happens. Somebody does something. The creatures prey upon, and you're back in the mess of things. And so
quick.
And I think at that point she loses the cat for like the third time.
Yep. She loses the cat. She gets stuck under a car.
Gone.
Frodo.
She almost gets taken out by that car. Yeah, like that could have been so bad if she was pinned underneath that.
Yeah. Man, it was everybody. It was every man for himself at that point. That man grabbed her, talking about, help me. How am I gonna help you?
Yeah. Also, be quiet.
Right.
Don't you know the rules?
And then he subsequently died. Like, yeah.
Go figure.
So that leads us into our meet cute. That's when we meet. Oh, what's his name? Eric. Yes. But she's just like, you please get help. Help yourself. Go to the river. Go to the boats. I'm going the other way. And he doesn't take no for an answer. And I can see why. He's just like, I don't want to die here. Like, I'm not from here. You can clearly tell he deals with like some sort of anxiety. He doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And I like that she kind of is like, okay. They do find their way back to her apartment and have a heart-to-heart. Very early on, I think it's cool that she met him when he was in such a vulnerable state. It didn't take a whole lot of movie for them to get close. They had a really good conversation in her apartment, and I think that led to a kind of cool moment with them, like a character building moment.
Right. And during this time too, like, she's already learned that kind of water masks sound.
Yeah.
And so she's able to communicate with him. It's full-blown thunderstorm at this point. an LOL moment when he and that's when they have the conversation in the apartment while it's storming and there's a little bit more vulnerability happening there because they're able to communicate so openly.
Yeah, they can actually talk.
And she tells him like what she's going through, and he is just, I think, like a little bit in awe of her and just her resilience and what she's going through, and just like still wants to like hang out with her. And then, you know, they're yelling at the top of their lungs during the thunderclaps, which also was making me nervous. I was like, do we want to test it? Do we want to push the boundaries here?
Right. Like we know
do what you gotta do. But that was making me nervous. And then cut to next day when she tries to leave him, and she's like, all right, buddy, you can stay in my apartment. I'm bound to go get my
like, cool moment, but
and like hoping he goes to where he needs to go to be saved, and like, triggered because he just dealt with this the day before.
And barely survived. And I kind of love that, right? Like, it wasn't this like necessarily knight in shining armor guy that comes in to save the day. Is like, no, we are in this together. I got my shit, you got your shit. You can be there for me, expecting nothing in return. I can be there for you, you know? And I'm glad that she got to calm him down through that moment. I was fucking tense. I was like, bruh. But he did make noise, and the alien did wake up. Which kind of leads me to a little moment that threw me off. Loved that scene. Glad they got away from the alien. Love Frodo. Frodo did survive that swim. Didn't know cats could hold their breath like that. I don't know. Maybe someone tell me if that's a thing. Are they like kind of, you know how like a baby, if you throw it in the water, they just instinctively can hold their breath and they live like for a while.
Under the water that long.
I know, but I'm just thinking of like, because the alien is also kind of like an mammal, and it's not like trained to be like, you hold your breath now. Like, so neither is Frodo. So I was just like, I mean, glad Frodo lived and could see how it could happen, but it took me out of it a bit. I was like, he's Frodo in the bag and just live.
Well, I was thinking like, I'm glad she finally got him in a bag because she can't hold on to this thing. He keeps like running away from her. I'm like, if you want to keep this cat, can you like attach him to your person? Can you have him? So I was glad that she finally had him like in a bag, put him in the tote, so she can like keep hold of him. Like, it's like you're like, do you even care? Because
the cat's in the bag.
The cat's in the bag.
If, the one thing Frodo gonna do is survive.
Literally, exactly. And so like, yeah, cats are resilient though. So like, I wasn't that surprised that he like made it through the water.
It threw me off. I'm like, the way that bag would have been, Frodo would have been, get me the fuck out of here. But he was just calm. He was like,
he's a chill kitty.
He was chill. I love Frodo though.
Almost too chill.
That's what I'm saying. It threw me off a little, but honestly, ultimately, loved that he lived.
So yeah, they make it through the subway. Flooding mess, and they end up in the cathedral, and she's not doing well. And he asks her like, what can I do to help you? What are the meds that you need? And sweet little baby angel like goes off on his own to try to get her some meds.
Right, which it was weird because when that shot opened up, I thought they were eggs or something.
So did I.
Like you said, a nest. I was like, oh shit, like they're breeding on this goddamn planet. And then they crack it open and eat it.
Right. I don't know what that was really necessarily about.
But this says a lot, because not only does this guy struggle with anxiety, he has put himself there just out of the kindness of his heart to help her with her pain. Like, that's, man, you know, that was a lot for him. And here he is, and he following Frodo's ass into the abyss. Like,
yes.
Speaking of loved ones of pets,
Bailey, you would have never made it. The way you have this reverse sneeze cough going on, you would have absolutely been a goner. You just would have been a goner, girl.
She would have.
I'm sorry. I love you so much. I don't know what I would have done. Probably died with you, but
it would have been tough. But
anyways,
A Quiet Place is just not a place for Bailey B.
No.
Bailey Beyonce Booty Butt Burton.
So he survives in this alien lair and makes it back with the goods and is able to help her ease her pain a little bit. And then when she feels better is when they finally make it to Harlem to the jazz club where her dad used to perform.
Yeah.
And well, even before that is when they go to Patsy's and realize, and that's the pizza she wanted.
Makes it to Patsy's
and realize that it was demolished.
It's not doable.
And they cannot have pizza there. And that's when he asks her, where did your dad used to perform around here? And that's when they go to the jazz club, and he just makes it so cute and so special. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, does an apocalypse situation and me being near death need to happen in order for me to find the love of my life? Is that what it's going to take to find someone thoughtful and considerate
that asks questions
and just goes above and beyond without being asked?
What do you need?
And just shows that they give a damn? Like, is that what it takes? An apocalypse and cancer. Okay.
Oh, Jesus
Noted.
Christ.
Noted. But yeah, and like, I mean, this dude, he's like kind of the internet's boyfriend right now. Joseph Quinn, who plays Eric. I don't know if you've seen Stranger Things, but like I think that's the first time I ever saw him was in Stranger Things, and he like plays like this teenage kind of just adorable nutcase. But
total opposite of this.
Yeah, but he's so cute, and
it makes sense.
He's just cute too. Lupita and Sam's Lupita's character Sam, and just just so considerate and
that stuck with me.
Selfless,
selfless, and it was nice to see.
Little meet cute, like you said, just so adorable.
Right.
And then goes and gets her pizza and writes Patsy's on the box. Like, just so cute.
It's the little things. Take notes.
Thoughtful.
Of what to do when the world's not ending. That's a great move. Thoughtful and listen.
Listen and implement things that have been said, and just be considerate and thoughtful and kind. And
that's why the internet's crushing on him right now.
It's like, obviously, like,
it's not a lot.
Nurse Reuben,
that's free. Kindness is free.
Nurse Reuben had a crush on her too, and was like also like sweet to her.
Yeah,
like Lupita can just get it. I guess
Lupita.
Everybody just loves Lupita, which understandably so. Queen,
let's go, Lupita.
Get it, Queen. Get it.
And is getting it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, moving on. So.
Yeah. So I honestly loved how that pizza moment led to basically the end, honestly, because I feel like that's the point, right, where you can either sit there and try to survive, which I did have that thought. I was like, wait, this is perfect. You have alcohol, you have food, you have a cute guy. Just see how the next 3 days goes. But it's like, yes, she has cancer and the bolts are leaving. Like, so we love that we could have that moment, but it's time to try and survive, at least for him. And I like that he kind of gave her a little bit more of a will to live for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
To make sure he made it. Mm-hmm. So that's when we get to, okay, let's see what these boats talking about. Yeah. Let's go to the dock.
And I think she already like had made it clear without having to really outright say it. She had no intention on leaving. Yeah. She's like, I don't want to fight anymore. Like, I'm already battling this disease. She was given a certain amount of time. She surpassed it. She was given more of a rate. Oof. She surpassed it. So she's like, I don't know how much longer I'm actually going to be here. So like, let me not take up space on the boat. Let me not take up resources, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like, they just kind of had this moment that was unspoken where she like gives him her jacket. Maybe it was a little warmer than his blazer, I guess, but also just like the fact that it was yellow and able to be spotted, realizing that they're like against water and that there is boats still leaving, and they catch sight of one, and she's like, they're having this unspoken conversation, and she's like, take care of my cat. She already wrote a note and put it in the jacket.
Didn't know. I thought the jacket was the only thing. I thought the jacket was like almost like, take this to remember me by.
Yeah.
But I love that it actually had like dual meaning, right? Like the note was in it. Mm-hmm. Also, you'll be spotted. Mm-hmm. You can be saved. Like,
yeah. And so like,
that was hard.
It really was, because Lupita.
Yeah, I didn't expect this movie to be such an emotional journey for me. Like when she picked up that wrench, I thought she was gonna die then. Like to make the distraction for him, I thought
Yeah.
it was over for her, and maybe she did too.
Yeah,
Like
maybe.
honestly, she was like she was okay with that, and I thought that was cool. I'm like, you met this guy yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm such a
Right. And
then he found the note.
and then he
Yeah.
found the note, and she was like, "Take care of my cat.
I like that she was still sassy in the note.
Don't let him get fat."
Yeah. I'm like, that's her personality. Love it.
Yeah, through to the end.
Yeah.
And then her just like coming to terms and just being like, all right, my cat is saved. I've done several good deeds.
Yeah.
I am ready to go. I'm ready to go be with my dad. And so
Yeah.
she's listening to Nina Simone and has her final moments where she just allows the creatures to come and take her out. And that is where the movie ends.
And that creature hit on that beat. Bah.
Ba-da.
I love that song. Man. Yeah. What a journey.
What a journey. Okay. Ratings. 3, 2, 1, 9.
8.5.
That's the first time I've been higher, I think. If not the same.
Honestly, I was gonna say 9, but I feel like
I was at 8.5 before, and I was struggling. I wrote it down. You see that in the corner?
I don't have my contacts on, but I trust you.
8.5 it says.
Oh
right
my god!
And I changed it to a 9 after we've been talking about it.
I know. Okay, so that was what kept me. All right, it was because in the theater, I will say it was probably just 1, them seats were nice. 2, the people was kind of pulling us out of it, but so I honestly was gonna give it an 8.5 because there was a part where there was a bit of a lull where I was getting a little tired, but also the seats were great. It was a quiet movie, and I was being distracted, so I was kind of losing it. Recalling the film, however, I wanted to give it a higher rating, but I was like, is it because I've just been sipping on my drink? Like, am I tipsy?
Right.
But I actually liked the movie, so I will say I gave it an 8.5 because I didn't trust myself. But I would have given it a 9 too.
And that's so funny because like I was struggling like I want to give it a 9, but I wrote 8.5. Is that exactly same thought process, but I went 9 just because I don't know, to be a third movie in a franchise and to still hold up in comparison to the other two. Also, let me say, I remember watching the second one in the theaters too, and thinking to myself, when they had that scene at the baseball field, when they go back to day 1 and John Krasinski's character's there with his family and they're in the small town and like it's day 1.
Right.
I remember thinking to myself, I want more of that. I want more of day 1 because there was only a small little clip.
Give me the world ending.
And that they did a whole third movie from that scene of day 1, I was like thrilled. I could not wait to see this movie because I've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
Because even like when the second movie came out, I remember it was supposed to come out in 2020. Because of the pandemic, they pushed it. And so I was like waiting so long to see that second movie. And then when they showed me that clip, they teased the first day. And then they came out with this title. And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I've just it's been like a build up for me.
Each one has been so
of
good.
Wanting to see what it was like on that first day.
Yes.
And so, and I thought it was just executed so well. I liked that we are following different characters than from the other movies, but you still got like some sub characters from the second movie in this one to see like how they started out and it wasn't the main cast.
Right. And how this kind of affected everybody.
Right.
I loved that. And honestly, this has been the most surprising series of my life. As far as like it being so good, because I missed the theatrical release of the first one. So I actually just saw it during the pandemic, A Quiet Place, and was enthralled. The Quiet Place 2, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna follow that. Incredible. This one, also incredible. It is so hard to do more than one movie without being corny and just making it a money grab.
Yeah.
And they did not do that. And you could like, there were moments I literally cried in this movie. Like, they took time to actually care about the characters. They weren't just going for money here to say, hey, people love the first 2, let's just fuck it, toss it out, get some quick money and be done. Like, I would watch another one of these. the storytelling was divine, the humanity was divine. Like, there are so many people who know someone that's going through a disease, a cancer journey, who've lost people, and it's like, man, that is just so relatable, whether you are that person or someone who loves someone who's going through that. And what would that be like to navigate the end of the world? How are you more selfless? How are you also hardened? And they didn't have to do that, and they did. So that's why I was like, bar is high. And it was also still like that, like, suspenseful sci-fi. They stuck true to that. I was terrified the entire movie.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I couldn't agree more.
I could talk about it endlessly. So
me too. I will just say one other like sidebar thing of like maybe just strategy.
Ooh, okay.
Because I thought to myself at one point, because they do it sometimes, right? Like when he throws a rock through a window to distract the monsters away from the direction, or like when the helicopters are talking and luring the monsters away.
Right.
I think like if I were in this universe and I was in New York City and like we learned like after a few days maybe the boats aren't coming and we have to figure out like how to escape.
Right.
This is obviously in like kind of I would say it's like early 2000s, like maybe because they have iPods still. They don't have iPhones.
Yeah, they have iPods. They have
later
iPods. Yeah.
So like some people have phones though. Like I would like one specific building, maybe multiple floors, gather everyone's phones and anything that like makes noise that has a timer,
and just put them on fucking blast.
Well, just like have it timed. Like let's set a timer on all these devices. Let's set an alarm. Let's set a timer to go off in like an hour, whatever it is, or like the next day even. Like let's set an alarm and have all these devices in one building to lure all the monsters, and like that way everybody has time,
right?
A set amount of time, like
to just
spread the word.
Yeah,
you have like 2 days, whatever the time the clock
that's a great
countdown is.
Yeah,
we have this amount of time. All the creatures are gonna go to that building and take out all those phones, alarm clocks, watches, whatever it is. And maybe have some fireworks or whatever. Set the building on fire.
Right, something. Blow it up. Tell the army all our phones are there and it's going to go off at midnight.
Exactly. Midnight. Exactly. Yeah. That's a great.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, we are all beelining. And now somebody better not fuck it up.
Right.
And do 12 p.m. because goddamn. Then that would be my phone. I'd be like, I'm so sorry, guys.
But that would have been my strategy.
But that's really good. Maybe we'll see that in A Quiet Place.
Next day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Quiet Place.
The survival continues.
Yeah. Quiet
Bring my girl on.
Post.
Story editor. Story consultant. Bring Whit on. Look, she got some ideas, okay?
We're a team. We both got ideas.
That's true. Look, that's what you're going to get from Burton.
One for all and one for all. What's it? No, all for one and one for all. What did I say? One for all and one for all. That's not what I meant. All for one.
Oh God. Okay. With that,
let me try one more time. All for one and one for all.
That's right. And with that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Sip and Scream. If you like what you saw, comment, like, subscribe, share this shit.
Let us know what you want to see us talk shit about and make a drink to.
Yeah, I like that. Give us some Rex, y'all, because we out here. All right, till next time, guys.
Peace out.
Burton